During World War II, Native Americans played a significant role in the defense of their country. In 1936, President Franklin D. Roosevelt proclaimed, "This generation has a rendezvous with destiny." While Roosevelt may not have foreseen the profound impact World War II would have, his words proved prophetic. Native Americans were among those who answered the call to serve without hesitation. They contributed to the war effort at a higher per capita rate than any other ethnic group, and their participation significantly altered their status in American society. The pre-war era, before World War II, Native Americans faced challenging conditions on reservations. Life was marked by poverty, underdevelopment, and limited economic opportunities. By 1939, the median income for Native American males living on reservations was only $500, compared to the national average of $2,300. Educational attainment was also a barrier. Nearly one-quarter of Native Americans had no formal education, and even high school graduates struggled to find conventional employment on reservations. Many remained in subsistence farming to make a living. America enters the war, and Native nations follow. Native Americans had a history of military service even before they were granted U.S. citizenship in 1924. During World War I, approximately 10,000 Native American men volunteered for military service despite not being subject to the draft. Between the two world wars, Native communities continued to express loyalty to the U.S. For example, in 1917, the Iroquois Confederacy independently declared war on Germany. When the United States entered World War II, Native Americans once again enlisted in large numbers, demonstrating their commitment to defending their homeland. At the start of World War II, some Native American nations, such as the Iroquois Confederacy, still had not formally made peace with Germany since their independent declaration of war in World War I. When the U.S. entered the war, Native Americans were eager to participate. Many tribes showed remarkable enthusiasm, with men waiting for hours in adverse weather to sign their draft cards, often bringing their own rifles to demonstrate their readiness. After the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, Native Americans enlisted in the armed forces in large numbers or contributed to the war effort by working in defense plants. By 1942, voluntary enlistment among Native Americans far outpaced those who were drafted. Service and sacrifice on the day of the Pearl Harbor attack. Approximately 5,000 Native Americans were already in service. By the end of the war, over 44,000 Native Americans, representing more than 10% of the total Native population at the time, had served in the military. Native women also played a vital role. Joining organizations such as the Women's Army Corps (WAC), women accepted for volunteer emergency service, WAVES, and the Army Nurse Corps. Nazi attempts at manipulation during the 1930s. Nazi agents attempted to infiltrate Native communities by disguising themselves as anthropologists and writers. They tried to learn Native languages and foster alliances, even linking the swastika to similar indigenous symbols. Nazi propaganda minister Joseph Goebbels went so far as to call the Lakota Sioux Aryans in an effort to win their support. These attempts failed spectacularly. Feeling manipulated, Native Americans became even more determined to fight against the Axis powers. They mocked Hitler, referring to him as he who smells his own mustache, and Mussolini as gourd chin. Tribes such as the Chippewa and Lakota Sioux joined the Iroquois, informally declaring war on the Axis. Contributions beyond the battlefield. Many Native Americans who lacked formal education or English proficiency underwent remedial training to meet military requirements. The war created an environment where natives, whites, and other Americans worked side by side, weakening racial barriers in the armed forces and setting the stage for the post-war civil rights movement. Native Americans purchased war bonds and treasury stamps worth $50 million by 1944, a significant contribution to the national war effort. Resources from native reservations, such as oil, gas, coal, lead, zinc, copper, and other minerals, were essential to the military industry. For example, helium extracted from the Navajo Reservation was used in the Manhattan Project. The unbreakable code Native American languages once again proved invaluable as code talkers during World War II. Tribes involved included the Yakima, Apache, Assiniboine, Cherokee, Chippewa, Choctaw, Comanche, Crow, Hopi, Ho-Chunk, Kiowa, Laguna, Menominee, Meskwaki, Mohawk, Muscogee Creek, Navajo, Oneida, Pawnee, Pima, Ponca, Seminole, Sioux, including Lakota and Dakota, and Tlingit. The Navajo Code Talkers, in particular, created an unbreakable code that played a critical role in the Pacific Theater. Legacy of Service. World War II profoundly transformed Native American communities. Their service challenged stereotypes, elevated their status in American society, and contributed to a broader push for civil rights and self-determination. The war united Native and non-Native Americans in a shared purpose, laying the groundwork for greater recognition of Native contributions and sacrifices. Native Americans as code. Talkers and soldiers during World War II, Native Americans made significant contributions to the Allied war effort, both as soldiers and as code talkers. In the Pacific Theater, the U.S. Army and Marine Corps deployed 24 Navajo code talkers, who participated in critical and bloody island campaigns. Their unbreakable code, based on the Navajo language, was instrumental in maintaining secure communications. In North Africa, 8 Meskwaki men served as code talkers with the 168th Infantry Regiment, 34th Division. In Europe, the 4th Signal Company, 4th Infantry Division, employed 17 Comanche code talkers. These men ensured secure communications during key campaigns, from the D-Day landings at Normandy in June 1944 to the liberation of Paris and the Battle of the Bulge. Neither the Japanese nor the Germans were able to break these codes. Exceptional soldiers at basic training, Native American soldiers displayed remarkable marksmanship, endurance, and proficiency in bayonet fighting. Their ability to withstand thirst and food deprivation exceeded that of the average soldier. Many Native Americans carried sacred objects, such as feathers, medicine bundles, sweetgrass, and cedar, for spiritual protection. These items were often purified through tribal rituals. Some Native soldiers followed the tradition of counting coup, marking each enemy killed by inscribing lines on their rifles or bayonets, as their ancestors once did on coup sticks. Service across theaters. Native American soldiers saw action in every major theater of the war. In the Pacific, 300 Native Americans, including a descendant of the famed Apache leader Geronimo, participated in the defense of Bataan and Corregidor in 1942. Over 2,000 Native soldiers from Oklahoma and New Mexico served in the 45th Infantry Division, which fought in Italy and Central Europe. Other Native soldiers served in units such as the 4th and 88th Divisions, the 19th and 180th Infantry Regiments, and the 147th Artillery Regiment, as well as in Oklahoma National Guard units. Navajo and Hopi soldiers were predominantly assigned to the Pacific Theater, while Comanche code talkers served in Europe. Meskwaki soldiers contributed in North Africa. A full commitment to victory from the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 to Japan's surrender in 1945, Native American soldiers were present in nearly every major battle and campaign. Whether fighting in Europe, the Pacific, North Africa, or other theaters, their bravery and skill were critical to the Allied victory. Native soldiers carried on their ancestors' warrior traditions, earning the respect of their fellow servicemen, and leaving a lasting legacy of dedication and sacrifice. Recognition of service. Native American service members distinguished themselves during World War II, earning numerous commendations for their bravery and dedication. Collectively, they received at least 71 Air Medals, 34 Distinguished Flying Crosses, 51 Silver Stars, 47 Bronze Stars, and 5 Medals of Honor. Life after the war. World War II marked a significant turning point for Native Americans, creating opportunities and challenges in equal measure. For many, the war brought their first experiences of a steady income, as the average Native annual income rose to approximately $2,500 post-war, a substantial increase compared to pre-war years. Wartime and post-war industries offered employment opportunities, leading many Native Americans to move to major cities in search of better lives, while others chose to remain on reservations. The post-war period saw improvements in job opportunities, education, healthcare, and overall living standards for Native Americans. However, these advancements came at a cost. The increased integration into mainstream American society led to a decline in tribal influence and posed a threat to the cultural and economic security of reservations. A dual identity, the experiences of World War II taught Native Americans that they could navigate and thrive in both their traditional communities and the broader American society. This dual identity allowed them to preserve their cultural heritage while participating in and contributing to the modern world.